Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Govberg Watches, and thanks for logging on. Today we are looking at the Vacheron Constantin Malte dual-time Regulator. You can see this 38.5mm yellow gold Vacheron Constantin chronometer and our entire inventory of pre-owned luxury watches on our website, govbergwatches.com. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our app, Govberg On Time, for the latest news, views, reviews, and watch multimedia. You can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This early 2000 reference from the Malte collection has beautifully expressive lugs, and while its proportions are compact, visually it reads far larger. It has an outsized personality. Now it is compact, 11 millimeters thick. The watch has a wonderfully rounded case flank and a double-stepped bezel that easily slides under a dress cuff. The lugs themselves look more massive than they are because the watch has a compact 46.5mm span from extremity of lug to the opposite extremity. It does have surprising heft on the wrist, and I'll get to that in a moment, but the takeaway here is that the watch fits free and easy on a small wrist, even while it has an outsized character. The lugs themselves give the watch its character. Vacheron has a wonderful history of expressive lugs dating back to the early 20th century in its first wristwatch efforts, sometimes lithe, sometimes brutal, sometimes sexy, sometimes almost gossamer in their design. In this case, we're looking at something more along the lines of insistent, brutal, massive. These are domineering lugs that characterize the case all on their own, giving it its air of size, giving it its air of masculinity. The strength of this watch derives entirely from the flair of these beautifully stepped lugs. Now, the watch does have plenty going on beneath the case as well, where it's nice and flat and slightly cupped, so it will cradle onto a wrist and sink a little bit, such that the stack height is actually less than the nominal 11mm thickness, and you can see how easily the lugs allow the strap to pivot. They are semi-conforming, so they do close the gap and eliminate some of the daylight between strap and the flank of the case, but make no mistake, they will fold easily around a smaller wrist. Now, Vacheron Constantin includes a high-quality Maltese cross motif polished yellow gold pin buckle to complete the ensemble, and the strap, minimally bolstered with a monotone stitch in dark brown, is a beautifully warm complement to the yellow gold. The dial of this watch is a highlight, however, featuring a regulator layout such that the hours are at 12 o'clock and the minutes are displayed radially from center, but also a second time zone featuring a 24-hour scale at 9 o'clock for AM/PM distinction. There is a small seconds display set within the radial date at 6 o'clock. This watch is exceptional because it continues two threads of Vacheron Constantin mechanical engineering history, and the first is the use of chronometer watches. Chronometer watches in Vacheron Constantin history have a long heritage dating back to the early 20th century, and they've continued through the Chronomètre Royale series, the Regulateurs of the early 2000s, and today they live on in the referenced 1907 chronometer. And it also continues the tradition of using improved base movements within Vacheron Constantin watches. This dual-time date regulator movement is powered by a beautiful Frédéric Piguet modified 1150, here doing business as the Vacheron Constantin reference 1206 caliber, 31 joules. It has a 4 Hz beat rate. It is chronometer certified, making it one of the few watches from the Holy Trinity, Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, and Vacheron Constantin, to be so certified. The watch features gorgeous Côte de Genève blazoned across the 18-karat gold winding rotor, as well as the bridges of the movement. Being finished by Vacheron Constantin and designed by Frédéric Piguet, the watch has impeccable pedigree inside where it counts. Recall that today Frédéric Piguet is pretty much exclusively a movement supplier to Blancpain, Harry Winston, and Breguet, and the finish on this watch, in combination with Vacheron Constantin's improvement, is truly telling of that siring. Now you can see the dial of the watch features nuances beyond the complications. Yes, it's a dual time, which, by the way, you can advance using the pusher at 10 o'clock. You advance the date using the pusher at 4 o'clock, but beyond the simple fact of complication, there's an elegance to this layout. You can see the railroad track minutes outboard of the hour indices, each one featuring minutes corresponding to the hour, because after all, this is a regulator, and in the tradition of the mother clocks in watchmaking workshops, Each individual function, seconds, minutes, and hours, is set separately, so counterintuitively you are reading the minutes at the stations of the hours. It has a beautiful off-white matte finish, not quite silver, not quite cream. It's beautifully unadorned, allowing the individual displays to be the stars here. The Vacheron Constantin Malte's cross marquee logo and the note Regulator chronomètre balances the watch laterally, just as the hours, minutes, and small seconds balance the watch vertically. The watch also has gorgeous broadsword hands, and it's hard to see here, but there's a bifurcation of the finish such that one side is frosted and one side is polished, allowing this watch to be read easily in broad daylight as well as low light conditions. You can see this unique Vacheron Constantin Malte dual-time regulator on our website, Govberg Watches, and browse our entire inventory of high-quality pre-owned luxury watches. If you enjoy these videos, please check out our blog and subscribe to our app, Govberg on Time.